What is going on, Unblinded? What a way to start your day. And welcome, everyone, to the number one place to start your day with a daily dose of integrity-based human influence, the Unblinded Huddle. My name's Fernando, fellow co-founder, and today is Trajectory Tuesday. And what's present for me as I begin to contemplate, and our days have started, fairly early. It's 8:30 here on the EST. We usually all wake up before 6, Sean even earlier than that. And as I think about Trajectory Tuesday, what's present for me is that Trajectory Tuesday is all about the micro distinctions, not the massive aha breakthroughs, even though they almost feel very similar. It's about the minor distinctions. And wait, for everyone that's here coming on for the first time, thank you. I see people from all over the world here in the chat. And thank you for everyone who has continuously been here to over like 500, 600 huddles. And as I talk about distinction and micro, think of this way. And Sean uses this, I don't know if it's an analogy or a simile. Imagine you are a boat and you veer off course 1 degree. It is the difference between sailing from New York going to England and ending up in like Antarctica. If you're off by a couple degrees, a little bit, just a little bit, a few micro distinctions, your your trajectory is completely different than where you destine your destination to be. So as we contemplate, as we grow, and even as we accelerate personally, myself and here at Unblinded, we are very present to the power of micro distinctions in what we're doing, because acceleration is present. Just finished jumping off the mastery call. Jay Levine, Ron, Dr. Michelle, all your questions. It is like exhilarating, motivating, and inspiring because you see it, you get it. And for everyone, this works. And when I say this, it's what we're doing. What we're doing is that we're helping influencers influence influencers to merge ecosystems where 1 + 1 is a trillion relationships, or at least 10, to make the world an even greater place. It is the game of peopleification, the monetization of human effort. It is working together in a symbiotic family, village, community atmosphere, not where we sit down, meditate, and talk about our issues, which we do as well. It's about like head down, focus, agreement, alignment, and then hardcore execution, Zeus energy, making choice, making things happen. And that's what's present for me on Trajectory Tuesday. So we have some amazing speakers coming up. Of course, we have Sean as well. We're going to be narrowing down our guests to only 1 guest per huddle. For now, we have 2 here today. So for everyone, as we begin to share and as we get ready, Sean loves to get optics on the chat. What's present for you on Trajectory Tuesday? What is that shift that you're committed to making? Or what is that shift that you know you need to make that you're not making? Or what is that shift that is right in front of you that you know you need to step through? So what is that one shift, that one trajectory difference that's going to make all the difference? And Mr. Callaghy, what's up, sir? And welcome to our Unblinded Huddle.
Hey, how are you doing, Fernando? And how's everybody doing out there on this Trajectory Tuesday? Double check in. Do we have any wonderful guests joining us for today?
Yes, today we have 2. It'll be the final
Great.
day we have 2. We're going to cut it down to 1 moving forward so we can hold time integrity.
Okay. Yes, awesome. So happy Trajectory Tuesday. Awesome. And so let's bring Grace up first.
Awesome. All right, so let's bring up Grace King. I'm going to read her bio. We ran through it yesterday. Some fun points about Grace. She loves to travel and sometimes travels 2 to 3 times a month. She's been doing it for almost 30 years. Since the quarantine started in March, she's been staying in her beautiful waterfront home. In 14 years, this is actually the first time she gets to enjoy it. It's like being on a vacation in her own home. After graduating from NYU with a chemistry degree earned in CLU and 4 years of financial training with Equitable Financial, she decided to start her own company. And for 28 years, her company has supplied customized industrial parts for manufacturers and distributors in the US and Canada. Customers include Home Depot, the largest aluminum trailer manufacturer, Top Polishing Company, and etc. She also started Solarific, a manufacturing and marketing renewable energy products to consumers that bring awareness to greener energy. And she's also had a #1 invention in Amazon. And finally, about 7 years ago, when she started to experience aging and sudden symptoms of aging, she was shocked and desperately seeking solutions to fight it. She went through many health issues and was able to help her 80-year-old mom go through hers, and after triple bypass, she is now ready to help others have a second chance at life with natural health solutions. She's 57 now, and she feels like she's more energized than she was in her 20s and her 30s. She's a dear friend. I'm grateful to be here. I honor Susan Lee as source, and welcome Grace King to the Unblinded Huddle.
Hey, Grace, how are you?
Great, thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, what we wanted to bring Grace up to chat about a couple things, but first is a big win. And congratulations about that, Grace, on Trajectory Tuesday. we're here to talk about is breakthroughs and acceleration. So Grace, we're working on a number of different things together, but you just had a beautiful win. Do you want to share that win?
We have this, I just won a Hawaii trip for two, transportation and food, 5-star, the best hotel, paid for.
And Grace is taking bidders and offers on who would fill that other seat with her. No, I'm kidding.
Can you turn on my video? Is it possible?
Yeah, we would love for you to be on video. I think you can turn it on yourself.
I spent half an hour to make myself look good, so please.
Grace, turn on the video. You can do it yourself from your end.
I got a call, a text, but I'm going to be on video. I say, oh, okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Can you do it from your end, Grace?
Huh?
I said you have to turn it on from your end, but please continue.
Yeah, I already turned it on, but I'm not on. So am I on? No.
You're not on now, but your beautiful picture is there. So please continue.
Okay, don't worry about it. All right, so what it was is that one of my business partner was telling me her parents were not feeling well. They were sick for 2 months. This is just a couple months ago, within a month and a half ago. And then they had antibiotics, for a whole week, but they still not feeling better. And so that I said, okay. And I talked to her mother. I said, do you trust me? And she said she trusts me. I said, do everything I tell you to do. And within a week, and she follows my instruction within a day, she feels better. Within a week, she just totally recuperated from the problem she had. So after that, they went crazy because, I was able to help them to feel so much better after being sick, coughing, or whatever symptom they had. And they just telling everybody how I could, help them. And it's also a great business opportunity. So the words just spread. So that's how I become like my Hawaii trip. Coming out from helping other people, coming from loving other people and helping with the knowledge I have. Yeah.
Awesome, Grace. And so congratulations, outstanding accomplishment. And how did you feel in being this recognition and winning the Hawaii trip? Just first feeling.
I just feel that I have so much responsibility. I just feel like so much. And I'm very grateful to you, Fernando, the whole team. And I was watching one of your influence video, and it reminds me that I know you try to change the system, right? You try to set up a law firm to help with the system. Meanwhile, I see we have problem with healthcare, environment, food, with nutritional, poverty problem, opportunity problem, because we got monopoly retail now by one big giant online business, and all the other retail are gone. And however, I'm hopeful because there's a great opportunity here. We got a community that is growing exponentially. We're breaking record in the last month, every month we're breaking record, and we're together lifting each other up and helping each other.
Awesome, Grace. And Grace, I want to thank you for that. And I want to acknowledge you in a huge way. And by the way, this is your first day in the huddle. We accelerate each day starting at 8:30. We're looking to compress it to 15 minutes, 45 with everybody. But this is what we're here to do together. And so Grace sharing some wins today and the acceleration of her trajectory, awesome. And Grace, what I want to truly acknowledge you is we're also working on some things together in elevating you as a speaker and some micro distinctions. And do you want to speak into that of how you're feeling about your understanding of some of the distinctions of you as a speaker and influencer? And obviously, long before I met you, you've been successful for your entire life. You've created remarkable accomplishments. And how do you feel about taking yourself as a speaker, a person of incredibly 9.999 powerful influence, to the next level?
Okay. Before I met you, I couldn't even open my mouth because I get the jitter so much. I have been very successful developing system, knowing what I can do, how to get freedom. Every year, 1st January, I already made enough money for me to travel the world and had that freedom, setting up system, train other staff to do the mundane work, and And I was very fortunate to see the world, but was always by myself. I have, no partner. I always kind of figured everything out myself. So I'm lacking the communication with people. And when you put it in front of the camera, I don't know who I'm talking to, and just that metal camera. And I don't know how to, I'm very good talking to a person one-to-one, but I don't know how to talk to a camera. So thanks to you. You've seen my issue and problem, you just pinpointed, and it's just that little distinction, micro distinction, the way you describe it, the whole team's, I just felt tremendously improved, and thank you so much for that.
Well, thank you, Grace. And by the way, we haven't done anything yet, and we are on the way. And so thank you for your trust. Thank you for your amazingness. And thank you for sharing your beautiful heart, your energy and win. And you do have a beautiful heart. Grace is one of the most kind, giving. She's as kind, giving, and loving as they come. So Grace, thank you. And when is your Hawaii trip, by the way?
It's in Honolulu. And
oh, I'm sorry. When is it? When is it?
I was in October.
Awesome. All right. Well,
and I'm planning to take a cruise after that for a week, so I can hit all different islands too.
All right. Well, you celebrate and you go, and congratulations on your success and continued success. And thank you for your trust. And I really, truly enjoyed it.
I can't believe I did makeup for like half an hour making myself looking good. I can't even be on the camera.
How about this unblinded team? Let's bring Grace back on in a minute. Let's our second guest, and let's try to bring Grace back on a video. If we can reach out.
Is it possible? If not, Hey.
No. Let's work on doing that. Grace got up, and she's, I'm sure, looking amazing, and we want to.
No, it's not. I rushed. My hair's so wet.
We all believe you look.
It's okay. I just want to see people see me because I'm 57. I feel so much energized. I have so much energy, and my mind works well. My body works well. Obviously, my heart's the same. But I feel that I can help so many people when you feel healthy, when you feel strong, when you feel like a superwoman like me.
Awesome.
That's all.
So let's work behind the scenes. Let's contact Grace and let's see what we need to do to get technology working. Grace, if we don't have you back in a minute, we'll get you on tomorrow looking amazing, or the next day. But Grace, thank you for today, unless we bring you back and get the technology working. So thank you, Grace. Have a beautiful Trajectory Tuesday. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sean.
Awesome. So Fernando, who is our next amazing guest?
Our next amazing guest is the one and only Cadorso Falcone. So I'm going to read Cadorso's bio, and then I'm going to share a little bit about, how I experienced Cadorso. She's in the financial services profession, and she specializes in helping pastors and other faith-based leaders with retirement planning and leaving a legacy. She also helps individuals with disabilities, with special needs and trusts. And she also helps business owners to protect their income and lay a strong financial foundation for their business so they can survive through times of crisis. So I had the pleasure of meeting Cadorso through an ecosystem merger we have with a financial ecosystem. And in our, complimentary coaching session, Cadorso showed up with the utmost beautiful, I'm going to say, fire, energy, and leadership. And there was no way that we were getting off that call without us locking arms. And I'm just so happy with what she's done. I'm so proud, to be in this movement with her. And I'm grateful that you're here on this huddle. So Unblinded Ecosystem, Cadorso Falcone.
Hello, Cadorso. How are you?
Hi, Sean. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And so on this Trajectory Tuesday, what's happening in your heart and mind?
Well, I am definitely looking to I would say solidify my 10 by 10. They are there, they're showing up, but helping them to become more engaged, to believe in the formula, and to help them all to more success, and just to build more thriving, fantastic ecosystem mergers.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Cadorso, if I could share this from my heart with everybody for Trajectory Change, I am, had a lot of, well, not a lot, but meaningful time over the weekend to do some thinking and sharing from my heart. And I think one of the things that we need to emphasize a little bit more here is just the discipline of consistency, persistence, and self-mastery. in the formula and program. And what I see is a distinction between the people who create real massive acceleration and the people who sort of bounce from concept to concept, idea to idea. And so we'll speak into that like spot, and then we'll talk about the peak performing folk. It is simply the idea of believing it's not going to be arduous in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't talked about the arduous momentum and abundance phases in a while on Trajectory Tuesday, but there are the arduous momentum and abundance phases. Now, the challenge with this part of the conversation, right, is it could sound like the idea of, hey, just work harder. Hey, just work harder. It's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is, if you just work harder, I don't think it's going to come unless you are understanding the formula, process, influence, and self-mastery, and the micro distinction, so you could look into like what's happening and have a distinction of why things aren't working the way you want to. So just the piece, and I'll kick it back to Cadorsal in a second, and if you could share your heart on what I'm sharing right now, Cadorsal, is specifically, when I was a sophomore in high school, forget me, my buddy Tom Filatico, who works for Caligula Law, Chief Accountability Officer. He was a former homicide detective, became became head of compliance for Novartis for the Americas. Tom, when we were 19 years old, Tom weighs 165 pounds now, probably more like 162, and can run sub 6-minute miles for 3 or 4 miles. When we were 19, and Tom's about 5'7" on a good day, when we were 19 in the 198-pound weight class, Tom broke the state record in New Jersey for the drug-free bench press, squat, and deadlift. And the reason he did is because at some level, Tom was so consistent, it was boring. Like, he was so consistent, it was boring. Now, what he made fun was like 1 more rep, 2.5 more pounds, and seeing that week to week to week. And it's those micro distinctions of repetitions day after day and building up that self-mastery muscle so nobody can shake you. Like, there's nobody in the world that could have shaken me from starting Caligula Law. There's nobody in the world. Now, I shook myself a little bit, and there's days like I felt like quitting and all that, but I knew like that's not, that the reality was that I would move from place to place and spot to spot and just keep starting over. There's nobody that could shake me from the idea that it took 8 years for us to really figure out one of the models of specific section of healthcare recovery that we're experiencing massive acceleration now at Caligula Law. For 8 years, I had 6 or 7 different leaders in that slot who ended up moving out of that slot because their belief got shaken. Mm-hmm. And now Tom LaGreca, James Greenspan at Caligula Law, and we are crushing it in that area in the middle of Corona, right? And expanding massively and thinking of like, what states do we go into next? And that's relentless consistency and vertical innovation. Like, there's nobody that's ever going to convince me that 10 by 10 doesn't work, because it's how I built everything starting 23 years ago. And I didn't even have a full 10 people. So I'll go back to you, Cadorsal. If anybody has any, for anybody, I want to give you this. If somebody's like, hey, I would like to do something a little bit differently than this. If you like say to Tom Filatico, yeah, I'm not going to bench, squat, and deadlift, and I'm going to break the record in the bench, squat, and deadlift. It's just not going to happen. And how do you break the record in the bench, squat, and deadlift if you're not benching, squatting, and deadlifting? So it's that relentless consistency on a self-mastery daily basis, grounding ourselves here, and then realizing, wait a minute, I'm relentlessly consistent, but I don't have the influence mastery skill set. And I'm not sure what an ecosystem merger actually looks like. So I got to learn a few things. I've got to improve my skills. That's the challenge, because that's the secondary question. If you are consistently showing up, where is your process and influence mastery as well, right? So Cadorsal, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking of, I cannot think of that little book, but it's a very famous book and most successful people have read it, but it's the success principle that says, like, successful people make a habit of doing what unsuccessful people won't do.
Yeah, I think it's Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Is that?
Okay, could be, yes. I read it somewhere, but that's what that reminds me of, because it's the consistency, of the reading, of the studying, of the communicating and collaborating. And it's kind of like after a while, it'll all start, culminating and growing,
Yeah.
but and to be there's seasons, right? So there's seasons of seed time and harvest.
Yeah.
So you have to spend some time planting, and when you're planting, you don't see anything. And that's when you have to be consistent with the cultivating, the watering, and all of that, but sometime later, voila, you're going to see what you've been planting, and other people will look on and say, oh, what beautiful harvest, what beautiful crops, but they didn't see when you were planting and planting. And if you're just concerned about somebody patting you on the back or giving you a compliment, like, you'll never grow something big, because you have to do it day in and day out, in order for it to really work.
Yeah.
So that's what I hear you saying.
Absolutely. Cadorso, can you imagine how many people told Oprah Winfrey, how many people told Tony Robbins, and I was thinking this over the weekend, how many people told Abraham Lincoln that he was wrong and crazy? Like, imagine each of those three people, just analyze how many people told them they were wrong, how many people told them to stop. Imagine how people told Abraham Lincoln, dude, are you crazy? This is worth a war? Like, brothers killing brothers? Like, we're gonna go forward with this? Like, really? And so with everybody out there, for in my life, whatever, I've accomplished, I've had at every level. My parents tell me I was wrong and crazy. When I started, the first thing I did in the law, my dad told me, he's like, when I talked about healthcare recovery and I was starting my own firm. Before that, my uncle, who is the most successful person I knew, told me, you're too young, don't quit your job, you're wrong. Like, the person that was the embodiment of everything I believed, that, like, the closest model of success that I had in my life, told me not to quit my job. I was wrong. I wasn't ready. And you know what, Cadorso? I love my Uncle Jimmy and my godfather. He was wrong.
Yeah.
He was absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And he was the most intelligent, successful, any person I knew, and he loved me. And he was totally wrong. Because people will give you advice about what they don't know.
Right.
Even if they're successful. And I'll just, this final back to you, Cadorso, in a second. And here's the other part. It's not just people who are looking to become successful. If you are successful, right? If we are successful, our next breakthrough, because maybe it's not money for you anymore, maybe it's not even time for you anymore, now it's impact for you. The thing keeping you and me and Cadorso and everyone from our next level breakthrough lies within the formula, right? And when I say the formula, I don't mean some like weird thing. I mean, it's like why George Washington, we won the American Revolution, and why we won the Civil War under Abraham Lincoln, or why Oprah became Oprah, or, Martin Luther King was Martin Luther King, or Gandhi was Gandhi, Mandela was Mandela. You name the person. It's because their process, influence, and self-mastery was an extraordinary level. And for each of them, when they had the setbacks, they had the lack of success, you could find those answers within the formula too. So, like, it's just what is. It's like geometry. It's a formula. It's not metaphysical. It's scientific. It's not like whimsical, like fanciful. It's just scientific, with its sub-distinctions. So, Cadorso, final from you on this Trajectory Tuesday, please.
Yeah, I think, definitely what you're saying is resonating. I am in the middle of reading Leadership by John Maxwell, and he talks about moving from being goal-oriented to growth-oriented, and how goals are good, but they are short-sighted. You're trying to go for small wins and achievements, and growth is about long-term, and how you just never stop. You never stop getting better. And I think that's the commitment that we need to have. And, I know that, some weaknesses, right, that I'm working on with process mastery and things like that. I think the level of success that I have right now is based on self-mastery. That's probably my strongest in the three, but I'm definitely working on the influence mastery as well. But I definitely want, like you said, the shift from me trying to be successful myself to helping other people be successful, that is definitely present in my life right now, and when you shift to that place because you can feel it in your heart, you're no longer just saying it, but you really are giving because you love the people and you want to see them better. And and I'm just trusting God to take care of me, so I just keep my eyes focused on the people, and not worry about myself. So I think, and so far it's been working. And that's what all successful people will tell you.
Yeah. Well, let me give you this from my heart and final to Cadorsal and to everybody out there who's looking to scale and create impact, right? And take it from me, because I've made way more mistakes than I've made optimal decisions. One key distinction in what we're sharing this morning is to never love somebody's dreams more than they do. And to make sure when you're imparting and investing into people in a very real way, there's at least a mutual accountability structure that for people to continue to get your incredible energy and time, everybody out there, and Cadorsal, Fernando, me, that they're accountable. I was mentioning my buddy Tom Filatico, and if you want to work out with Tom Filatico back in high school, you had to be accountable, right? You didn't just get to say you want to work out with Tom, and Tom wasn't going to chase you down at your house. It was, you had to show up, like Daniel-san and Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid. Like, there was rules where Mr. Miyagi was going to continue to impart into Daniel. Like, he had to do wax on, wax off for 8 hours. So there's a mutual accountability, because when we start loving people, we could actually, and I've done this time and time again, where I've loved people unconditionally without boundaries. And the byproduct was me creating a very bad dynamic where I was doing way more than what I should have been doing, and they were doing less. And it was actually harming them. And when I think about the people who taught me, my high school coaches, Coach Woods, Coach Slazak, Coach Filato, Coach Ennis, they made sure I was accountable. And that's how they loved me. And when I was accountable, they gave me more. I was with Coach Ennis in a car with a professional baseball player. And there's a lot of people that want to be in that car. His name was Tommy John. He's a Hall of Famer. I believe he's a Major League Hall of Famer. And I started going to camps with Coach Ennis and Tommy John. And I was 15, and they were letting me catch the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old pitchers that they were pitching and training. And it was a great privilege. I was in the car with these guys and listening, and they were imparting into me, and I was just listening as a byproduct. But there's a lot of people who want to be in that car. And the only way I ended up in that car was me having to be accountable and do my part. So for Cadorsal, for all of you and your leadership, people have to earn the right. Like, you can go first and give some, but people have to earn the right to stay in proximity to you and gain from your leadership. And that is the key trajectory shift. Does that sound like a fair agreement, Cadorsal?
Yes, I really appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah, and they got to be accountable. And it's okay to love people and say, hey, it's not the right time for you. I only got a limited number of people that I could be imparting into and can be in proximity to me. And this is just not working out right now because we have an agreement and you're not honoring your part. Forward. And I have fired way more people than work for me. And I've transitioned out of relationships. And I've had people, whine, cry, complain, say it's not fair. And I've had that happen many, many times. But the bottom line is there's not a one that I've ever could look back and say, I didn't do more in my heart, in my brain than my fair share. And in many of those situations, I hurt them, not by ending it. I hurt them by not ending it sooner. And so just, own that in your heart, right? And in love of people. So Cadorsal, thank you so much for being here today, and have a beautiful Trajectory Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Right, awesome job. Fernando, brother, any final?
Mutual accountability structure. Love everyone with boundaries. Thank you, Sean Callaghy. Trajectory Tuesday. Fernando out. Back to you.
Right. Yeah. Sean out. Have a beautiful day and go get it. Thanks.